Hey everyone, welcome back to the video. I hope you all are doing great. And I also hope that you guys have watched the previous videos of the series part 1, part 2 and part 3 of deep learning. Because we are coming to the end of the deep learning series very soon. Just one more video to go and that will be bringing us to the end of deep learning series. But we'll be doing much more videos on deep learning in the future, but this series is going to be ending soon. Just one more video and that's done. And after that, as you all know, we are having the neural network series, and then as all are expecting and everyone are interested to watch that series, that is the advanced virtual assistant series. The advanced virtual assistant videos are going to come very soon. So today is the part 4, and today's part 4 video will be the extended version of the next video. It's a part where it connects to the next video. So without wasting any time, let's get straight into the video. So first, let's see what's the agenda for today. We're having 3 topics to discuss, which we will be connecting to the next part of the video, the part 5 of the deep learning series. So the first one we are having is the gathering data. Second one, we are having pre-processing the data, and third one, we are having the training your module. So if you remember in the last series, the last part of the series, the part 3, we discussed on how deep learning works and how data is collected and put inside the transfer function, all of these. So today we are going to discuss how these datas are gathered and pre-processing is done, training is done. All those things will be talking about that in the basic ways, and you'll be able to understand it much better. So moving on, first we have gathering data. Now as the word itself says, gathering, that means collecting the data, right? Now for data science or data analysis, for deep learning itself, the main specific thing you need is data. Even for a virtual assistant, if you're talking about the virtual assistant, the basic virtual assistant we created, the main thing for searching maybe like how to bake a cake, right? What is that? Basically, it's taking the data from the whole internet and providing you the necessary details, right? So what is it doing right there? Collecting the data and giving it to you. So that's basically called as gathering data. Now let's see how you can gather data. Now one of the most powerful data set you can gather from is the Google dataset. Now this is the Google dataset is one of the most used dataset by any programmer, by any data analysis, by anyone for deep learning or machine learning or any other things what you use for data visualization or anything. Google dataset is one of the key resource or tool for that. Apart from that, you can build your own dataset. You can create or make your own kind of a algorithm from one package which we used before, that is Beautiful Soup, which we use for temperature function. If you remember in our virtual assistant, don't worry, we'll be doing it again in our advanced virtual assistant series, so you'll be getting to know in that itself, so stay tuned for that. But again, you can create your own data set. It does not matter if you need to use Google dataset, but you can also create of your own data set too. So that's where gathering the data set comes. Now this whole thing is like a process. Okay, now I need you to visualize this process. Now you gather the data. Now what are you going to do next? Obviously you are going to pre-process the data. See, until and unless you don't process the whole data what you've collected, you won't get to know what is required and what is not required, right? Correct. Now for example, you are having maybe a sheets of names, and you have Jarvis and Jarvis in 2 sheets, correct? Now you don't want the same sheet to repeat it again, right? What will you do? You'll remove that, correct? Now what is this whole procedure called as? You're pre-processing it, you're seeing which is required, what is not required, you're eliminating, you're keeping which is necessary, all those things you're doing, right? So that's basically called as pre-processing data. Now let's see what's there in pre-processing data. Now we have 3 kind of pre-processing data in this process. First one is splitting the data set. formatting the dataset, and finding the missing dataset or missing data. Now, from the data we gather, the first one what we discussed, the gathering the data from the data what we gather, either we will split the dataset, correct, or we will either format the dataset. We'll see which is has to be first, which has to be next, and we'll also figure out which is missing right there, right? Until unless we don't figure out, we won't get to know what is our required, the output what we need. So we'll see one by one. In this, we'll have different key points which has to be discussed. So let's see what is there inside each inside splitting dataset, formatting, and missing dataset. So as I told, in splitting dataset, we are having three kinds. One is training, processing, testing. Now what is this three? Training, obviously, as the word itself says, when you split a data, you need to train the module, right? Now for example, you have to give an output of dogs and cats. If you remember, in the part 2, I've discussed about this, or in part 3, I'm not sure, I think in one of them. So if you see, when we have to figure out which comes under dogs category or which come under cats category, what we do, we see the eyes, ears, or maybe the body structure, legs, all these things, right? So that's what is the whole thing. That's whole procedure is called as training. So similarly, what you'll do in virtual assistant is you'll train the specific data. Like for example, if open YouTube in command, what you did right there, you train the whole data, correct? That's basically processing. What happens after that? Now we'll take the example of virtual assistant itself. Now as I mentioned, if YouTube in command, now what after that? What should the virtual assistant do? It should process, right? What should process? Webbrowser.open www.youtube.com, correct? So it's processing the data. Now what data you provided, it's processing. Now testing could be, an elif statement also. For example, if YouTube in command or open YouTube in command. So if you see, there are two commands. What is it doing right there? It is basically testing, right? So this is basically what you're doing in splitting the data set. You're splitting it according to it, right? So next we are having formatting the data. Now what do you mean by formatting? Again, as told, which has to come first, which has to come next, correct? You're extracting the data which has to come. This has to come before that, you're extracting it. So that's basically formatting the data set, right? And third we are having is the missing data. Basically we figure out which is required, like which is not there in the whole data. For example, you're given a sheet of number of students with their phone numbers. There are few students who have not even provided their phone numbers. What do? You basically find out the data, right? That's basically missing data. Okay, so I hope you got to know all these three things. So we'll be moving ahead next. So next we are having the last but not the least, which will be coming us to the end of this topic, that is the training the module. Now this is one of the most important thing in deep learning. What is the main key function is you feed the data. Now whatever the data you gathered, you pre-processed it and then you feed it. Once you feed it, you basically use the transfer function or whatever is there, the training data you have provided. It will take the required output and it will either do the loss function. Which is not required, it will do the loss function. So training the module is one of the most important thing. If you have observed in the stock market prediction, we did something called as the training data, right? Training data where we trained the required predictions that has to be done from the AI. So similarly, what we did was we feed the data, we use the transfer function or the training function or whatever which is required. Out of that, we did the loss function which was not required, we removed it and we got the output. So that is basically how the training module works. Fine. And that will be bringing us to the end of today's video. I hope you liked today's video and stay tuned for the next video, and after that neural network series. And then we are having the advanced virtual assistant series. Sorry for the delay of the videos which are coming. I'm a little bit busy with few things that are happening here. with my, there was a problem with my laptop and many things that have just happened. So apologize for that. Sorry for the delay. But stay tuned. The videos will be regular. Everything will be done very soon, and I'm excited for it. I'm sure you guys are also excited for it. So till then, guys, take care. Happy coding. Have a great day. Enjoy. And till then, take care. Bye.